Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to hashtag Got Money. So look, interestingly, I was going to do some really fabulous little reruns, and one of them, funnily enough, was my wonderful quantum field coach, business coach from Blue Chip Minds, Georgia Ellis. And then I found out that Georgia Ellis is in actual fact doing a money workshop, and I thought, oh, there'll be no reruns here, people. Let's go straight to the source and find out what's happening. I welcome Georgia Ellis to hashtag Got Money and the formidable Melissa Forrester, who's a financial wellbeing coach, which is quite new. Thanks, Georgia, for bringing me a financial wellbeing coach. I didn't realize I needed one, but let's plug it into Got Money. Georgia, why don't you kick off? What are you up to?
Oh, we're up to some amazing things together. So thank you for asking. And it's awesome to be back here again. And what a lovely way to sort of close out the year, hey? What are we up to? So Mel and I, we've known each other for quite a long time. We actually work together in banking and finance. And so we've gone on our different paths. I sort of focus on the mindset realm, and Mel, and I'll let Mel explain what she does a little bit more in depth later, but Mel is helping people around their money mindset. So you probably know that I love going deep into mindset. And we were discussing around what would be something that we can help people really understand, because a lot of people, when they think about money, they think about it from the investing point of view, or they think about it from, having to go to the bank or getting a loan and all those sort of things around money. But one thing a lot of people neglect to actually work on is their own belief systems around money. So we decided to run a workshop or a masterclass around Money Matters, we're calling it. So we're kicking this off on the 15th of January, where we're going to help people understand a little bit more around where those money beliefs come from and how it formulates your mindset and how it can actually serve you or sabotage you. So that's what we're up to, and we're really excited by it too.
Wow, sabotaging from our own money beliefs. I'm with you. I hear it. I hear people say really unkind things about money. And I'm like, why would you be unkind about money? Money is lovely. But some people don't have that as a belief system, do they, Georgia? This is really interesting. Melissa, so how did this happen for you? You just ran into Georgia and she said, oh, by the way, or how did this idea formulate? Because it's a very, very clever idea.
It is. It's a really great idea. I've recently completed a couple of Georgia's Life Reloaded and Life Reloaded Next Level masterclasses. And from that, I decided to start up my own business, because I identified where people have these beliefs around money and they don't know what to do with them and they don't know how to change them. So I sort of started this business as being a coach, and, I help people with, things like savings and budgets and like just the basic day-to-day things like that. But also we wanted to delve a bit deeper into their mindset and where those mindsets come from, or where those beliefs come from, and how they can change them if they don't serve them anymore. So we got chatting, and we decided that an online masterclass would be the way to go.
So let's unpick that money belief stuff a little bit, Georgia. Firstly, is it possible to undo that? If you know that you've got a negative belief, it's possible to undo that?
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to, first of all, understand and uncover what they are. And on Mel's website, she has a really great survey or quiz that sort of gives you a little bit of a hint to your predominant money mindset. I think it's actually called is it the Money Mindset Quiz, Mel? Sorry, I don't know. It's not my website, so I don't know. So that's sort of just, not that we can put everyone in boxes, but it'll start to give you a little bit of an understanding of where you may actually be heading because of your behaviors and your beliefs around money. So that's a good place to start. But yes, you can change, but it's like anything. It does take a little bit of effort to make those changes around your beliefs, especially if we've taken on those beliefs from a very early age, which is what happens to us. We create these beautiful agreements with money from a very early age, based on what we're seeing in the world around us. Now, I actually took, this is really funny, right? Because I think I'm okay with money. I took Mel's quiz and it told me that I actually had a scarcity mindset. And I went, oh, hang on a minute. Let me just unpack that a little bit more. So, and then I thought about some of the behaviors and some of the things I do are still reminiscent of how I was brought up. Like how I spend my money and how I save my money is because I was brought up, shown that we didn't have enough. So therefore, there is a little bit, an element of scarcity mindset in me, even though money's not scarce in my life. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, so here's the thing. We know from doing the show that women are not risk averse, but really kind of very cautious about how they spend their money, which is clever, I think. Is this financial mindset? Is this a female mindset, or is this a masculine mindset, or is it gender neutral? It doesn't discriminate. It's for everyone. Melissa, you can answer that.
I was going to say, I think that's a question for question for
Where do you
Mel.
see this predominantly? Who needs the training?
I don't think I've never seen it as a particular gender, although in my experience in the bank, I did find a lot of females coming to me for advice when they were at a point in their life where they weren't happy with their situation. Maybe their partner had always taken care of the money, paid the bills, gave them an allowance, whatever it is, and they didn't have the confidence to make those financial decisions because they hadn't had the experience in it. So it doesn't discriminate for gender. It just depends on the experience that the people have had growing up and throughout their lives, which in my experience has predominantly been females that have missed out on that education.
I notice in my own business, I take care of women that are newly divorced.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting for me. I kind of didn't profile who my clients were, and they just started showing up that way. Within what you're doing currently, are you finding that you're available and you're finding women that are coming to you looking for this advice?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I identified that when I was in the bank, which is one of the reasons why I did start this business. And yeah, it is predominantly females that are seeking me out.
So everybody needs the training though.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just going to interrupt there because I actually agree that there are a lot of part of the cultural programming that we have from a very early age is around the man is the the person who goes and earns all the money, and the woman stays at home and looks after the kids. That has long gone. Like, that is not how we live nowadays. However, the belief system hasn't disappeared yet.
Thank you.
So
George
underlying, there is still that mentality, right? So it makes it really difficult. However, back to your point, there are men in my life that I'm privy to, whether they be clients, friends, whatever they are, that are absolutely hopeless with money, right? So they don't save, they live pay to pay. And there are a few that I have actually worked with and done similar sort of approaches to what Mel does, which is help them set up budgets, help them track where they're spending, help them start to change their mindset around money. And I think that's a really powerful piece. So it's definitely not gender specific. However, women, unfortunately, have inherited a program that doesn't allow us to potentially be that good with money.
So talk to me about what someone can expect to get out of the course. Melissa,
Yeah, beautiful.
Melissa, why don't you start with what can they get from your training inside of this course?
Okay, so the training that we're doing in this particular course is helping people discover what their relationship with money is and what their beliefs around money are and where they've come from. So like Georgia was saying, generally our beliefs are developed in our childhood from what we observe with our parents or guardians. And so we want to sort of unpack that and delve into what those beliefs mean to you, whether they're serving you, and if they're not serving you, then we look at how we can change them to make it a better future for yourself.
Oh, great. So it's okay to identify the problem, but you're not just going to leave them with problem. You're going to go, here's a problem, but let's consider what the solution is. Are there going to be other courses inside of this, Georgia? Can you see this as being something that you're going to roll out consistently over the course of your trainings?
Not me personally, but it could be something that Mel takes on forward through her financial wellbeing coach practice.
Great. How's the interest been so far?
Yeah, it's good so far. We're getting people signing up, and because it's online, we don't want to have heaps amount of people, because if we have too many people, we can't actually. It becomes difficult to really unpack and help people on that individual level as well. So, yes, we have had interest. Yes, we have got people signing up for it. So if it's something that interests the listeners, they might want to jump on board pretty quick smart on that too.
Oh, I just think they should. That's why we're doing the show. Look, if you out there are looking at your bank account and it says $10, you need the training. There's a problem with your belief system. If you're looking at your asset portfolio and it equals nothing, you need the training. You know, I'm quite female centric with the show. I don't mean to be. I'm sorry to my listeners, but I am. And I'm only that way because I have female leaders on the show who talk about these older women that are the new homeless, and they're couch surfing, and sometimes they don't actually show up on the stats because they're so invisible, and in actual fact there's a bit of shame in that for them too. And I know that if I can help one member of my community save them from a future like that as an older person, I feel like my job has been done. Okay, so there's the training. Melissa, talk to me about what you're currently doing. So you're doing some work around budgeting as well. How does that work?
Yeah, so I do individual coaching sessions, and through that, I'm guided by what the person needs or the individual needs. So I can help them put a budget together. Some people already have budgets. Some people need help with budgets. So I've developed a spreadsheet that makes it really simple to work out a budget for themselves. And then, you know, if they want to set a savings goal or learn how to save, I can give them tips on how to actually put a savings plan in place and work towards a particular goal. And sometimes it's just about the daily habits of, you know, being aware of what you're spending and, you know, whether that's something that, you know, may need to change or, you know, whether you can afford to do it. So.
Georgia, have you found that people as a result of COVID have become more cautious about spending?
I can't answer that. I know I did. No, I didn't actually I became cautious, but I didn't really, because I had no need to spend money. So I wasn't going anywhere or doing anything. So I thought, maybe was I cautious or was there just nothing to spend my money on? But yes, I think, I don't know, because I was getting some reports come through from a research company, and they were showing, or that was a research company around the financial spending in Australia during COVID. And it was really quite interesting that people were still spending. However, they were taking money from their superannuation and not putting it towards their everyday needs. They were buying, oh, the government's letting me take 10 grand out of my superannuation. I'm going to buy a boat. I'm going to go and I'm going to buy some new shoes or a handbag. So it wasn't around, you know, paying for those everyday needs. It was, I can dip into my future for now. And so I think it changed potentially how we spent, but I also think it came back to people's mindsets in that time around not knowing how to sit with themselves and spending the money on things as a distraction from this time that I now have with myself. And I think that may have been where some of the spending was happening. I know a lot of people did online spending, and generally we purchase material goods to fill a void.
Yeah, you did that. Remember that course that you did in the States where you got to analyze every single dollar that you went out of your account? I had Georgia come on the show, Melissa, and she talked about this training that she'd done. And it was quite impactful because I realized I spend to feel good. And once you get to that, you're like, oh, I'm going to put these puppies away. Melissa, what about your clients? Did you see from your clients that during that whole time of COVID, they were conscious about money? What was their experience like?
Yeah, I found a lot of people were concerned about money because, jobs were so uncertain and they were worried about whether they'll be able to pay their mortgage and things like that. But like Georgia said, I did notice a lot of people turn to that online shopping because they were at home and, they could see things needed doing around the house. So they were just like buying things to make the house look more comfortable while they were there. And yeah, so even though they were concerned about paying the mortgage, they were doing the online shopping as well.
Look, who knew toilet paper and Bunnings? I mean, really, I didn't see that coming.
Neither did I.
And look, I never got online at COVID carrying Bunnings. I just decided that wasn't going to be the thing for me. Okay, so money training is necessary. You're doing it. I commend you for doing it. Budgets. It's a really nice idea, Melissa, to say that you're going to put somebody on a budget. Is that actually something that you can train people to do? Because I'm a no budget kind of a girl. My budget is I give my partner the money, and she's Italian, so nothing leaves that account unless it's absolutely necessary, because I know that I can't do it. She's my discipline. With someone like me, Melissa, though, how would you manage to coach a human being like me that just thinks everything should be bought immediately and online and instantly?
I think there's a common misconception with budgets. It's about restricting what you spend. But when I look at a budget, it's about being aware of what you're spending and prioritizing what you spend your money on. One of the things, I've done a lot of traveling over the years, and a lot of people say to me, "Oh, I wish I could afford to travel as much as you." From my perspective, I kind of go, well, I prioritize my travel over buying clothes or shoes or things like that. So it's not about restricting what you spend in a budget. It's about prioritizing it and making sure the things that are important to you are covered before you just spend without thinking about it, really.
It sounds incredible, doesn't it? That you're actually saying don't put yourself, because I hear budget and I equal that to pain. You're saying you don't actually have to create pain. You just have to give it another consideration. So there's a belief, isn't it, Georgia? Another one while having a discussion with you. Georgia, what's the future like for you right now? Is there anything else that you're working on currently that's exciting that we need to talk to our listeners about?
Oh, I've got more Life Reloaded programs running, so that's really excited. And you heard that Mel's actually gone through a number of those. So yes, we've got that in the pipe work. So I think I've got another one scheduled to start in January as well. And for those that have done Life Reloaded, we've got the Life Reloaded Next Level, and that's where we start talking about the quantum, Elizabeth. I know that was something you mentioned earlier. So that's where we get into really how to really take ownership of your life in all aspects of your life. So yeah, that's where I'm at the moment, and really excited for 2021.
Melissa, you did the course, and obviously it's changed your life. Do you want to just discuss how doing that course has helped you?
Yeah. For me personally, I love the way Georgia explains things. Like, she explains it in a way that you can understand it, like really complex things in a simple way. And one of the benefits of Georgia's masterclasses and programs as well is that you're in a group. They're only small groups, and you're with people that you connect with. And there's a few of us that even outside the program, we would meet up on a regular basis and discuss and unpack what we talked about in the group sessions and how it relates to us personally. So, you're meeting like-minded people to have those discussions with as well. And then you've got Georgia, who's just a great resource.
Yeah, she's a pretty phenomenal coach, isn't she? But we're not gonna, no more warm air over that way, Georgia Alice. You've had enough today, darling.
Yeah, none of that halo effect on me. I'm a human being, okay? I just found my passion.
Isn't that, though? That's an interesting statement. I just found my passion. And it's kind of evident from this course that you're doing, Melissa, that you've found your passion too, because it's a big deal, Melissa, when you walk away from corporate Australia and go, you know what, I'm starting my own business. I'm starting
Yeah.
my own business. I'm going to be a coach. I'm setting it up during the worst possible. I mean, we've had a pandemic and you've gone, I'm setting up a brand new business
Yeah.
during a pandemic. And then you jumped into it knowing that you yourself were enough to make this happen. And I commend you for doing that. Because I think we're entering, now this is completely askew, I think we're entering a dawn of the entrepreneur, a dawn where people are going to have to consider what their actual skill sets are, and they're going to need to use them. And to have a resource like Georgia doing her courses, and Melissa, you going on and coaching and training people on their relationship with money, all of that's so incredibly important. Thank you. Thank you for doing that, for sharing your passion for money, and Georgia Ellis for your training. What are we ending the show on, girls? Georgia, end the show on a fabulous note. I know you will.
Oh God, that's a big task. A fabulous note. So
Even the show
if
on a fabulous note.
Yeah, even if people don't, attend our classes, because, there are things that are happening in our lives, I really want to encourage and invite people just to stop and pay attention to what you're spending your money on and why you're spending your money on it. So this goes back to what Elizabeth said earlier around we purchase things for a dopamine hit, for a feel-good chemical that is released. So be really mindful and start to take real ownership of your life and your money. And you'll find that as soon as you just start to pay attention on what you're spending and why you're spending, that in itself will start to create a shift.
I agree with that. And that's a really powerful statement. Once you acknowledge it and you look at it, you can actually start to change it. Melissa, what are you leaving our listeners with?
I think for me, COVID has stirred up a lot of emotion in people. They're very concerned about their future. And they've had all this time to sit and think about it. So now it's time to start taking action. And what do they want to change about it? What have they unpacked during COVID that what they want to change and move forward with?
Great. Ladies, thank you for joining me. Georgia, how do our listeners find you?
So going to bluechipminds.com is where you'll find me, or on social media, just my name or Blue Chip Minds, you'll also find me there.
Georgia Ellis also has a very good, cool little podcast. If you ever want to listen to it, it's certainly on the website. So please feel free to go and listen to Georgia Ellis as she interviews some pretty phenomenal human beings, and also global too, Georgia. I don't know how you get your guests. You're pretty amazing. Melissa, how do our listeners find you?
Yeah, so my website is fwcoach.com.au, and I'm also on Insta and Facebook.
fwcoach.com.au. Happy New Year, everybody. Have a wonderful time. It's been wonderful hanging out with you all this year. We look forward to coming back to you next year. Georgia Ellis, of course, will join the show. And Melissa, we'd love to hear back from you again during the year. Please join us. Take care, everyone. Be safe. And we look forward to hanging out with you again next week.